Hello developers, welcome back again. Today we're going to create another Lynx application where we will fetch the data from the API, and also we're gonna create a multiple routing setup. As you see how we're gonna start up with that, we're gonna have our header, we have the product list which we are fetching from the API, and if we click it will take us to a separate like the product page or product screen, you can say. There we're gonna view about the title, description, category, model, color, brand, and the price ratio. And this application gonna build up in a proper manner. Then slowly in a gradual process we can add a lot of other functionality like add to cart, and for the user management, and also for the checkout details. Everything we're gonna implement here slowly. And after building this application, no worries about that. The repo link or the repository where I'm gonna host that, I'm gonna provide the link in the description, so you're gonna have this entire project in your arsenal. And as the Lynx project is still have some fundamental issue here, we're gonna try to knock out that, and we're gonna try to understand it better. And by the way, this is not the image gap. The image link is broken from the API. We can fallback API, we can want to pass that if you want to. So we're gonna just go and prefetch and build this entire thing from the scratch. And now if you are new in that segment in the Lynx application, I'm gonna drop some link of the videos where you can watch the previous videos and learn the fundamentals, how you can start, how you can set up the things, and you are good to go. Now to start that, I'm gonna go in the quick start, and from there, as you see, we need the Node.js 18 or later, and this command which gonna create our application. So first of all, I'm gonna copy that. Then I have a directory here which is typically the build directory, and I open my terminal here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste that, which is npm create rspd at latest. Hit enter and it gonna start building our application. I need to provide the name which is going to be Lynx Ecommerce. Enter, and I'm gonna go with the recommended Typescript, and also for that I'm gonna go with ptr for code formatting. The Bible having some issue, I'm gonna just skip for a bit. And if I put ls, as you see, our Lynx e-commerce application is just now created. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to drag and drop and open in my Visual Studio Code. So there's a several process how you can open in your editor. You can follow through any of that. I'll just drag it there. And after drag and drop, what I need to do is to open the terminal here. First command which going to be happen is npm install, to install all the dependency required to run the application. And when we are talking about the dependency, as you see in the package.json, we have only a single dependency which is coming here for the LynxJS React. And then also we are having a typical div dependency here, which is the LynxJS QR code RSPL plugin, and also the RSPL like the React RSPL plugin. We have the RSPD, types, React, and Typescript. And as you see, the Node.js bigger than 18. And if you're following through like for the documentation here, you see you can go with how you can prepare for iOS simulator or Android emulator. And for if you're still having any issue, let me know in the comments, because in last couple of video I showed you how you can configure and run the application in a very good manner. Now for the Android, same setup of you just need to you need to grab that and drag and drop in your application. It will open automatically. And for the Windows version, I'm gonna drop the video very soon, because still in my Windows I'm having problem to run that application, because I think the build here which they are providing, if you select in Android and if you go in the GitHub release, now this link here in the asset here, as you see, the Lynx Explorer Noasun release.apk, that's APK is some part sometimes it's opening, and in Windows I can't open. So I'm just gonna skipping this one right now. I'm gonna show you in later process. Now we are creating the project, we are installing that, and then we are running that npm run dev. And by the way, you need to also go for the debugging tool. You need to go in the Lynx dev tool, and from there you can download in the asset, you can download the suitable one which gonna run in your machine. And after downloading that one, is pretty simple. You can just simply open your Lynx dev tool in your like the project ratio. As you see, I'm opening my one. So let's see if it's installed. Okay, everything installed. So now I'm just gonna close my previous application, but okay, let's close it. And as you see, I'm gonna open the Explorer in a new way. Now npm run dev to run our thing in a local server, so that all application is gonna run in our local scenario. So just getting ready that one. Okay, now I need to copy this one, and after copying that, I need to paste that URL over here, by which I can just grab that and let's go. So now this is the first ever like the dummy application which we are having here, and as you see in the dev tools also, every issue like all the log and other parameter is coming here. You can go through the elements, you can just, you know, this is very cool here. If you just go through all of the elements, you can just prefetch and see the way the web development is happening. You know, you can change the way, you can change everything from there, and it will reflect here by so far. So now that's how you can combine the application. So what I'm gonna do for initializing this project by so far, I'm gonna make that one like a clean project. For these purposes, everything is coming from our app.tsx file, right? So before going entering there in that app.css, I'm gonna just select all and remove everything. So all the style it just removed from there, and also for the app.tsx file. And by the way, it's removed, but sometimes it's a little bit laky. If you just reload here, it's gonna take action. So this happen time to time. You know, this is still in a build phase. Sometimes it's working perfectly, sometimes not. So we gonna use it with that. Now there is no style here, and also what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove that additional things which we are not gonna use. So there's the top layer, remove that, and all of the things on that view here. So I'm gonna keep the single view and then remove everything. Let's hit the text. Let's say hello from app, save. And now for that app.css, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just copy paste all the code, all the style which I'm gonna follow through, and no worries about that. I'm gonna explain each and every single segment, why I'm using it and how we're gonna implement it and how we are reaching in that segment. First of all, see the root. In the root, I'm making the background color as 00, so the fully black, and for the color text, I'm gonna make it as white. And also you can pass that, let's say color text, or you can make that color BG. And here we can just pass the simple scenario here. Let's say it's gonna be 000. So we can now use that concat scenario also. Then we have our container, and that container gonna give us a margin plus value and a height calculation value by which we can create our application layer. To implement that, first of all, let's go and create two separate folder. Which one? It will be our, let's say it will be components, and then it's gonna open another folder which should be our screens, because we're gonna have our routing and other setup. So in the components, I'm gonna take a new file which will be named as container.tsx, and here let's say const should be container, and on that container we're gonna create a simple arrow function. First of all, we need to pass the return value, so the return, then we're gonna return a view here. From that view we're gonna pass simply our children. Okay, now typical React application, you know the purpose of the children, so I'm gonna just get that children, which going to be, let's say it should be a type of, let's say children, it would be React, let's say React.React Note. Okay, so also we need to export default here, so let's say export default container, and for the class name of the container we need to provide that class name should be our container. So now this container we can access that and we can utilize and use it here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wrap these entire things within our container. Okay, so now pass the value. So as you see, it just dropping here from the top, because we are accessing that margin from top 50 pixel and from the left right 10 pixel by so far. I think from the left to right we don't need to pass the 10 pixel. Now here what's the benefit is that now, okay, first of all let's remove the extra import here. Use callback will not use, but use if I think when we're gonna use that time we're gonna import that. Right now I'm gonna clean it. Okay, so right now what is gonna happen, we are now in a clear position by which we can now set up the things. So first of all we need to go and create the routing. So I'm gonna create my other screen, which it would be our, let's say product. product.tsx, and that should be similar of that product, and let's say return view, let's say text products, and then export default products. Okay, now there's a small problem here. Also you're importing, the import is coming as a JSX. Also if you go in our index.tsx, the export is coming as JS. That should not be like that. We are using the Typescript, so the export should be as in Typescript. So now if I go and follow through in our app.tsx, as you see, it should be the TSX. The error is appearing. As you see, we need to allow importing TS extension should be true. By default is getting like an empty value, it's coming a false value here. So now we need to make it true. I think they're gonna resolve it pretty soon. And after doing that, also we need to pass another parameter, which is that no emit. Okay, so should be, let's say, no emit, and that should be true too. And after doing that, you see that thing's working perfectly fine. Also in the import this parameter, we can use now the TSX. That's it. Now before going any further, we need to set up our routing, as we're gonna have a multiple screen. So if we go in here and we just simply search for our router, and not the router, I think routing, yeah. Now as you see, this setup is happening to use that npm install react router 6. They are not implemented the 7 yet, but we can use the 6 here. So let's go in our project. I'm gonna just choose another terminal, and then I'm gonna install that one. And as we have a single package here, so now which will add another package, which is going to be react router. So as you see, the react router is right here. Now how we can set up the router, this is pretty simple. If you are already experienced developer using that Vite development, you know how the route setup is happening and how the configuration is going through. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna import some of the properties. So let's say import, and that import gonna come from should be react router, and the import gonna pass that should be, let's say, memory router. Then it gonna pass the routes, then it gonna take the route, and here instead of that app itself, we're gonna wrap it with our memory router, and then we're gonna combine our routes, and then we're gonna pass our individual route setup. The first route, the path should be /home, and the element that should be the element of passing as app. Okay, that should be our first route. Then we're gonna use the second route, where we're gonna pass the path, which is going to be /products, and also the element which going to be, let's say, it should be we need to import that product screen. So this is the two elements which we are passing by so far. Now before creating that itself any other parameter, we're gonna just make the things to work. First of all, let's just pass a text, go to product. Okay, so now we need to go and create the navigation. So const nav is equal to use navigate, and now we can formulate the navigate, which gonna happen that with the bind tab formula. So simply we're gonna pass that nav should be passing that /products. If we just click on that, go to product. Okay, okay, we need to pass that in the second line. So that's the where we're gonna pass that. Go to product is in the product, and also if we fall back to our product, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rerun that and gonna pass that in the, or instead of that view, we're gonna just simply wrap our container. Okay, done. So now as you see, we have our product, and from that product also, if we just simply pass that go back route setup, it will go back entirely. So right now I'm gonna just pass that, let's say, go to home, and the similar thing gonna happen. Const nav is equal to use navigate, and here should be bind tab, and the nav should be, let's say, / just passing the / should be getting to the home. Okay, so now we need to combine some of the setup, which it will be happen to be coming as the home header home header.tsx. So that should be our home header formula, because we will use a multiple header, because our application layer, it will be not as simply just fetching data and passing that, because we will combine it as an e-commerce website. So we're gonna go and follow through the scenario here slowly. So the view and should be the text, let's say home header, and after that we need to export default home header. I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna create another component which is going to be a header.tsx. I'm gonna pass it here, and then I'm gonna simply remove that home text from there. So now we are having this header and home header. Now first of all, let's go and define what kind of things going to be happen in our home header. The home header going to be simply defined in some criteria. First of all, it's gonna have in an image, so we're gonna import that image. Import logo from, if we just go through that, should be asset, then we're gonna use that Lynx logo. If we just see here in the asset, we have arrow, which we are not using. We have the logo, also the React logo, which we are not using. So we just can go through with the Lynx logo. And so first of all, in here we're gonna pass that our image, and on that image the source should be src, should be logo. And now we can also pass the inline classes, right? So the inline, it will be not in the class name, but we can pass as a style. And you need to be very careful once you are writing the inline classes, because there is no type check here, so you can type anything, and if it's a mistake, you know, the error, it will not showcase, but the thing is not gonna it will not work in a perfect way. So now width is 50 pixel, height is 50 pixel. Where is my okay, did we import? Okay, I need to import that. So if we just go in our app, I'm gonna close others. So over here, instead of those things, I'm gonna just take our home header. Okay, cool. So it should be injecting right here, and whenever you are stacking here not working properly, you just better to reload this application layer, and it gonna popping up. You see this is coming here. So now we have our home header. Now in the after the image, we're gonna pass another one, which should be passing that Lynx App. Okay, done. Now for this view itself, we're gonna provide some of the style here, so we will just make that inline facility here. So that style gonna combine, let's say what is happening, we're making it as a display flex, align item center, justify content is a space between, the padding bottom is 5 pixel and border bottom is 1 pixel solid and a white color with 80% opacity, and the margin bottom we are passing that as 10 pixel. So now also for the image, for the text here, we're gonna also pass the style by itself, and that style going to be combined. Let's say font size should be I'm gonna provide a font size of 20 pixel, and then I'm gonna also find the font width, which going to be 800. Okay, done. So now this is our Lynx application home header. So as we are passing the home header, now what we're gonna do here, also we're gonna combine that our another portion which going to be header. So let's go here. I think we can I'll just get that one. Go to products and bind tab. Let's say nav/products, and for the product we also need to have our navigation parameter. So let's go in our header, not header but our product. So here in the product, instead of that one, we're gonna pass our header. Okay, so the header combination it gonna happen so far, and we will make that header in a good way. And for the header, it's gonna also take an arrow icon. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clearly get two of my icon, which I'm gonna use this entire project here. So I'm gonna just drag and drop this icon here. One, it will be the arrow back icon, another is the loading icon. So this the icon you can just download from the internet, or you can use your own build. SVG, PNG, JPG, all are supported. You can use it pretty much in a simple way. Now for the header here, so if we go back to the header, now for this header, it should be passing like this view itself. It should be, let's say I'm gonna pass a class name, which is going to be a class name of header. And then first of all, in this ratio, I'm gonna pass a view, and that view I need to import the image first. So import, I'm gonna pass that as arrow back from. It's gonna get the assets and gonna pass the arrow back.png, and from there I'm gonna pass the image tag. The source should be arrow back, and also for the class name should be arrow image. That's it. So that's the combination, it will work. And of course I'm gonna define that class name later on, and for the text it will be just pass that as back. Okay, and for this one put a class name which going to be back text, and you can see the either text is both together. And for this one I'm gonna put a class name which gonna be just a back view, where we can view the backward data itself. And for this one I'm gonna pass another text which I'm gonna pass just a cart icon parameter. So now you can see those things working perfectly. And for we can just also combine a style all together if you want, like this here. So font size, we can just passing that as a 16 pixel, and also we can make that, let's say we can pass the font weight. So font weight going to be, let's say 600. Okay, now what we can do really, whenever we're gonna click, we need to go back, right? So I'm gonna get the nav here again, so use navigate. Now these things, how it gonna work? So this view, whenever we're gonna make that as a bind tab property here, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just simply pass that nav property, and from there I'm gonna just make the -1 ratio. So wherever it came, it will go there. So go product, go back, go product, go back. So now our router is done. It's time to fetch the product, grab the data, and start pulling things in our application. And we're gonna use that our fake store API products here. So that's the entire things I need to copy, and then within this link I can fetch the product in our application. And to do that, it will be there is one more things. If we go back in our header, I didn't explain to you. So let's search for the header. Now if we go in our header, we are making the border bottom 1 pixel solid white, padding 5 pixel to 0 pixel, like top bottom 5 pixel, left right 0 pixel, display flex, align item center, justify content space between, back view similar, flex item center, back text is 18 pixel 600, and the arrow image, you can modify the height width if you want. Like if you want to make the width at 30, you can do it and it will reflect, but I'm gonna just make it 25 pixel as it is. So now if we go in our, let's say, app, okay, so in the app we need to define also 2 parameter which are going to be combining how the way we're gonna fetch our product, we fetch our data. So that's the combination we're gonna just make it through here. So first of all, we need to combine 2 state here. One, it will be const, let's say, products, and that should be set products. User state should be an empty array, and user state need to be imported from Lynx React, and this one not be their legacy runtime. So only the Lynx React should be there. I'm gonna make it at the top. And after that also need another state which should be loading, and set loading. By default I'm not gonna make it as false value. Okay, so now this is the 2 value by which we're gonna concat that. So first of all, I'm gonna create a function. So that should be, let's say, fetch data, or you can say fetch products, and that should be an async function as we're gonna talk with the database here. And now we're gonna just simply pass a try catch property, and for the catch we can just make that as a console.error. If we are having any error here, we can just passing the value. So that should be error fetching products, then we can pass the error. And after that, okay, we need to get our property here. So I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna pass it here. Of course I need to await, otherwise it's gonna bump with something. And first of all, once that function is passing that, I'm gonna make the set loading as true, and after finishing each and every single round, in the finally I'm gonna make that set loading value should be as false again. Now this function, it will not run. If you come over here and check, nothing happening, because we need to call that function by so far. So to do that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take one use effect properties, so should be use effects, and similar way React.js, that also need to be imported the same segment, otherwise the LynxJS React, otherwise it will start popping up the error. Now here I'm going to call that fetch products function, and then I'm going to also pass an empty dependency just to remove the loop things. Now if you just here, you see it's nothing happening, right? It's because you need to reload. That's the only solution which by so far I find is very helpful. So now as you see in that object, we are passing the products. So simply we can, as you see the response here, if we just go through that, let's say products, we will be able to grab our products. You see the array of 50. We don't want to grab the 50 products. We will go with like say limits. I'm going to limit as 20. Okay. So the 20 products we want to grab it. So now we will be able to see our 20 products, and instead of console.log, we're going to just make that set product. Okay. So our product is set. Now, even if you just log here, you know, to see the products is available or not, you can just feel free to go there. You see the array is right here, so the product is working. Okay, anything we maybe misspelled here? Okay, we are good. So now we can combine through that product and we can show the data in our application layer. So first of all, I'm going to create a loading state here. Okay, or before creating the loading state, I can go over here and showcase the product the way we can show it here. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to just keep that home header right there. And what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to initiate the loading state. If we have the loading, then I'm going to pass the text as loading. And if it doesn't have the loading, then I'm going to just paste the entire value here. So now, as you see the loading at the top, it's happening. So I'm going to create another components, which will be as a loading component, loading.tsx. So const loading, and that would be another arrow function, return, let's say view, and then I'm going to pass a text. Let's say product is loading. Okay, so let's return that one, export default loading. So instead of that text here, I can simply pass that our loading parameter, loading component. Instead of, I'm going to just go with the null check value, so we can now see the loading is at the top. Now to generate the loading instead in a proper way, you know, we can just manipulate that scenario. First of all, I'm going to import that our image here. So import loading from assets loading.png, and then I'm going to grab one image property, and the source should be, let's say, loading. Okay, oops, it should be like that. And then the class name which going to be passed, that the class name should be not the class but the class name loading image. So the loading image, it will be there, and at the top to the class name, that class name should be loading property, which we are making the flex item center justify center, and also for the class name itself should be the title. Okay, so now if we just copy that, and if we go back in our app.css, let's see the loading is that is coming. This flex direction getting the column, gap is 10 pixel, align item center, justify content center with 100 view view weight, height is the 100 view height, loading image is 30 pixel, height 30 pixel. And also we are using one animation property, which is the rotate animation. One is linear infinite display inline block. If we just focus the rotate here, which is just passing a transform value from the 0 degree to 360 degree, it will automatically rotate infinite time. Also, if I try to find the title class, as you see, title, TLE, the title, which is passing that font size 22 pixel, line height normal, font weight 600, margin bottom is 10 pixel. So now we're having to get our loading instance. So now what we need to do, we remove the null check. Now it's time to view our product data, and to view that is also pretty good. In a good manner, we can implement that one here. First of all, let's just see here after the home header. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that one, let's say you're gonna pass a text value here, should be our products. PRODU should be DU, and also for this one, let's put the class name, which should be the title. Okay, so our products. Now, before going any further, I want you to come over in the documentation here for the links, and Command K. Here you're gonna search for the list, and this is the one of the built-in elements: the view, text, image, scroll, view, list, and page. So that's the one of the six built-in elements here, and using that list we can use that remember, in the React Native we are typically using that flat list, or you are mapping directly to make the scroll view to scroll animation or others. Here we're gonna use the list, and with that list we can also use so many other params and properties. So we're gonna go in that way by so far, and we can also use so multiple other properties. So what we're gonna do here, first of all, we're gonna take the list parameter here, and after the list we're gonna map through our, let's say, products dot map everything we're gonna render as a product, and also we're gonna take the indexed property. Okay, and then we're gonna return a list item, so should be list item, and on that list item let's just render a text, let's say just simply products. Okay, so now that list item need to provide a key parameter, and that key should be, I'm gonna just pass a string value, then I'm gonna concat the value with our index, let's say index. And also another property should go on, the item key property, and that item key property also I'm gonna pass the similar value of the key, which should be index property. Now still nothing is appearing because we need to specify our class name for this proportion, which is going to be as a list property. And after that, as you see, the list is right here, and the list type we need to define, or we can go without the list type too, waterfall. You can just define the waterfall if you want. So waterfall, and after that we need to provide that column count, which should be 2. This is very important because it's gonna define how many columns I gonna grab it here. And then also the scroll orientation, which should be not horizontal but vertical scrollable things going to be happen here. And then we're gonna pass another like a custom list name. We can provide the name, and that one we're gonna just simply pass that, let's say list container. We're gonna go in a default variable here. Now if we see the list here in that our app.css file, the list is coming with is 96 view weight, and this height need to be placed because otherwise it will not be scrollable. I'm gonna come in a very good way later on. Now that list exists view like gap is here, you can increase the gap, you can decrease the gap the way you feel preferable, and the padding bottom I'm gonna passing 150 pixel. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create another property which going to be having that product card.tsx. Okay, so const should be product card, and here we're gonna pass the value here, return should be a view, then passing a text should be product card, and let's export default, and that should be processing our product card. So instead of that one, we can simply passing our product card. So now we're viewing our product card. We can pass the product to our product card directly, so the product should be passing as our product. Now we don't have any typo for that product, especially if we come here and fetch that product. We need to define that product type, right? And to define the product type, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one types.ts file here, and this type file gonna responsible to define all the types which is a product can behold. I recommend you to console log, and especially we are having the log, you can see each and every single product. If you see the array, every single product have the brand, category, color, description, discount. So this is the parameter which is passing over here, and that is the one which we're gonna cover up. So now as we are having interface, the product data, ID number, title string, image string, price number, description string, brand string, model string, color string, category string, and discount as number. So the product should be, let's say, product data. So that's it. PRO, that should be DU. Okay, so now we are having our product, and also as you see here, what is there? PRODUCT. Okay, that's just a typo mistake. So now we have our product, and by the way, also you can predefinedly extend here, instead of passing that, let's say product data. And why that will really help, like if we want to use that ID as the key, we can use that one right here. Right, instead of that index, we can just simply use that product.id. That's it, it will work. And you know, instead of just passing that index property, that should be a really remarkable if you're having a unique ID. So now we can remove the index if you want it. So but right now I'm gonna keep it because I'm not sure, because sometimes image is missing, maybe the key should be missing, and that time I'm gonna get an exact error right here. Okay, so in the app, okay, I'm not gonna using it right now. Okay, I'm gonna just remove it as not using. Okay, cool. So now what we're gonna do, especially in the product cart, we need to provide the image, and we need to provide that link setup, right? You can also pass that there in the same parameter, because we are using in a component basis. You know, there will be lots of tactic here later on which we're gonna implement. So here I'm gonna pass the image, so that should be image, and in that image the source property. And by the way, if I'm missing to explain any of the class name and others, no worries, because the repo you're gonna get it later on, so you can just combine through with that one. So the class name should be the image. If we save, we should be able to see the image and is popping up. And now const nav should be use navigate, and over here once we click on that particular here, like that bind tab, we need to pass a value here. We're gonna pass that nav, which is going to be passing the /product, and after that we're gonna pass the value here, like in the state we're gonna pass our product with the key of that product. Okay, so we're gonna pass the product in our state property, so whenever we click and we land here, we should be able to have our product data. So now let's go back to our product screen here. So now here we're gonna prefetch the data, and we're gonna just pass the landmark, how it can combine all together, and we can arrange it all together. First of all, here as you see, I'm gonna just get the state here, so should be const state, and that should be passing the value of use location property, and it will be coming from that use like React router. So I'm gonna just pass that log here, console.log, and I'm gonna define the state to see what kind of data we are receiving. And I think there is a big log somewhere where we are, yeah, that one. I don't want it because still it's a little bit slower. I don't want to make it more slower here. Click here. Okay, I'm gonna go back again. Okay, still I removed that, right? But I think we need to pass our magical key, which is reload, otherwise it will making the problem. Okay, now click. As you see, we are receiving one object. In the object on the state, we are having the product on an object parameter. So how we can define that? So now I'm gonna close others, and here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that const product, which will be the value as the product data, and that should be equal to, let's say, state dot /products. Okay, so now if you use the product, you can see the product ratio. Okay, that should be state dot product products. Anything we are missing? Okay, we need to pass the object value of the state. That's it. So the bind tab is not required because we are not binding here right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a view here. Okay, and that view gonna pass the image here, so that would be the image, and from the image we're gonna pass a source property, which should be a product.image, and also we're gonna pass the class name, which I'm going to pass that as product image class. So you should be able to see the product, and also that view, I'm gonna pass that class name of the view, which should be, let's say, product view. Okay, so now I'm gonna just copy that one. Let's go our app.css file and find that one. In the product, as you see, we are passing a width of 100%, height 100 bs, so entire height gonna take, display flex direction column, and everything going to be coming as 10 pixel gap. And the product image similar with 100%, height is 44 virtual height, like view height, and the border radius passing 00. So the bottom left 20 pixel, bottom right 20 pixel. Now in the product, we need to pass some of the parameter. Like if we just go and grab the title and other property, you know, it will pop up in a very good manner. So in the title, we are passing the product title ratio. In the description, we are passing the product description value. And there we need to also grab one of the important properties, which going to passing that our category, model, color, and brand. So now if we just go and see the product title, passing the font size 16 pixel, font weight 600, line height 20, or passing a height of 60 so it will not crash together. Similar way description, passing the max height is 90 pixel, and the color description getting the like the flex direction column and gap 5. This is the description layer. And for the heading, as you see the highlighted, the white one, the font size 16, font weight 600. Now after this value here, we need to also passing another, let's say, another view, which going to typically happen our price view. So pass a class name, which should be price view. Let's say price view. And in that price view, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass a text, and on the text we need to pass the price. So that should be product.price. So we'll be able to see one price here. So I'm gonna copy and paste another time, and that one gonna be product.price into product.discount. So it's gonna concat all together. So we have one regular price, one is the main price. So now also for the class name here itself, I'm gonna pass that as the price. So first one gonna be a price class name, and the second one, the class name should be main price. Now if we just roll back to our price view, you see we are making display flex and an item center gap 10 pixel, and for the price is 20 pixel and font weight 800. And by the way, we will use SAS later on as CSS, so that would be a very good combination to writing the CSS. And by the way, you can also follow through the Tailwind CSS so far. And for the main price, font size is 18 pixel, text decoration double line through, font weight 500, color is white, and 90% opacity. So after that scenario, after this view, we need to add another view, which going to be add to cart view. I'm gonna pass a text, which gonna pass that add to cart. So now this is right here. So first of all, I'm gonna pass a class name here. That class name gonna pass that add to cart view. Okay, so you're gonna get a like a white background, and the text also need to pass that. So pass the class name, which going to be add to cart text. Now if we follow through over here, which is happen to be, you know, instead of that color, we can just go through that color BG, which is the background color width and height. Okay, so now if we change that color, like if we come back here, you know, if we change the scenario here, if we just make that color as the FFF, so the background color should be white, the color text should be 000, you know, we can make that, and also FFF, you know. Now as you see, this is little bit a good combination here by so far. And again, I'm saying, you forget about that. Okay, some portion we need to tune together. Okay, what we need to do is reload. Sometimes it's freaking out the way it's just describing the things. Okay, cool. So you can tune through all together, because remember why is breaking. If you find the description parameter, you know why is breaking, and you can find the solution here. So what is that? Product main price, and I think it's somewhere at the top before the price value. Add to cart view, main price, heading, and product description right here. Okay, instead of this one, we can just pass that var color text. and then you're having that. And in the color test, I think the opacity, it will not define in that way. If we save, I don't think so. So you need to make the manual opacity, so that will work in that manner. So that's the one combination by which you can come through a different resolution, how your project should align, how those things can work all together. And by the way, it's not at all like it's not all together to go and combine the scenario. There is a whole lot of things to explore in future. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass that entire code basis, whatever I'm doing here, I'm gonna just pass. I'm gonna go in my GitHub, and of course the link I'm gonna just drop it in the description, so you're gonna have it and you can understand it in a very proper manner. And that would be the Lynx e-commerce app. Every single code, it will be available right here. You can just clone it and use it, and you're gonna get this entire segment done in your arsenal. And don't worry about it, all the update, it will coming here follow through, because as you see, we are putting a functionality add to cart. Later on, we're going to implement or introduce add to cart. We will use the state management using that Redux toolkit, or you can go with the Justent or Tanstack. So it's up to us how we're gonna follow. Let me know in the comments which one you are exploring, which you are expecting by so far. Then I'm gonna implement it in future. And by the way, still you are with me, don't forget to subscribe the channel, because it will be a very good deal with you. And like this video so it can reach with other people and they can come along to learn Lynx application. And what I really want you to be exact here, as you see, there is no input value. There is a lot of things they need to inject, and that will come slowly. This just a couple of weeks still here, so give us time. I still remember in React Native when I was working 3 or 4 years before, it was like to build this setup, it took more than 2 weeks for me to just understand the navigation, understand the other parameter, how those things can work. But here you see, just a days. It's just like a very clear understanding here. So I want you to try, and let's just have some fun with Lynx development with me. So, and also there is an e-commerce website is pending with the Next.js. I'm gonna drop the video very soon. I just cannot go out of the Lynx that kind of enchantment. So I'm gonna make that one very soon and try to finish that. And if you have any problem, let me know in the comments. If you cannot do it, clone it from here. So if you require any other things, let me know in the comments, and I'm gonna drop the video as soon as possible. All the best, do it, and I'm gonna see you in another video. All the best.